And so what these archons use is a variety of other kind of things. Is they use memes as well as to influence and shape this space. And a meme is an idea or a concept that's so powerful that it causes you to change your behavior in one way or another. I used to own an advertising agency, and the kind of the wet dream of every advertiser is to walk yourself into some mimetic kind of idea that just, you know, it's Miller time, right? You know, one of those kind of things that everybody just goes, yeah, and then they go out and go buy Miller beer. But that's what a meme is, and and in this particular case, they're used to create fear and orchestrate social pressure. I mean, how much pressure have you got to go get yourself shot up these days? And generate fashion, right? Where does that come from that suddenly gets everybody to go out and buy a new dress or a whatever? And they establish convention. When you get a meme that's big enough, then everybody says, oh yeah, that's the way you got to do it, because that's the way it's done. And they manufacture constraints like education and religion and government. They're all big meme generating machines. They're factory meme factories, if you will. And they can also use them to weaponize the controller's objectives. I mean, they're used in a focused kind of way. I mean, the war on terror and all of these kind of these massive, all these gun, you know, all these events. I was going to say false flag, because I think a lot of them are orchestrated, and they're false flag things where they use deranged and mentally challenged individuals who they've cultivated over time to then go in and shoot up a bunch of people, and then they say, look see, now we got to take your guns. And but they do this, they're trying to move the meme, by the way, from COVID right now to climate change. And if you watch it, remember you heard this, now start watching, you will see that the narrative, they're trying to move the narrative over and keep the fear level high so that they move you over into saying climate change is coming after you. And then behind that, one of the reasons almost certainly is why you're getting such disclosure about UFOs and other kinds of things, is because they're downstream. They got a meme they want to do about the aliens are coming after us, because they keep it so that they can keep the fear level high. They use the captured media, the news and entertainment and sports and all of these things, just to keep you entrained. You know, think about the idea that whoever controls the educational process also controls the consensus narrative. I mean, we have all been systematically educated into this space that says, here's what it takes to be a good citizen, and here's what it takes to be a good person in a familial relationship, and here's how you to be a good worker, and here's the, you know, and that we've all been taught that, I mean, there's a purpose, there's an agenda, there's a direction, I mean, behind all of this. And it's not just me saying it. You can walk yourself back into the origins and, you know, the Rockefellers and why they started the public education system and all this kind of stuff. And so here's an interesting example. This is Principia Scientific. And if you're in the back and you can't read this, it's a 79 predictions of climate doom since 1970. Score so far, 0 to 48. What that means is that they have been saying over and over and over again, 79 predictions about the climate's going to horrible, it's coming to an end, the new global warming, all of this kind of stuff. And so far, there's not a one of them that's come true. There's some of them that are far out and they haven't gotten to them yet, but 0 out of 48. But how many of you, I should have you raise your hand and say, how many do you think that global warming is happening? I mean, this is probably an unusual group that none of you'd raise your hands. But but they are doing their best to try to convince you that global warming and climate change, and humans are doing it. The sixth great extinction. I mean, how many of you heard of that? The sixth great extinction. Raise your hand. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, everybody's heard of that. That's a frickin' meme. I mean, they're driving that in to tell you that you're doing this, and now I'm here to tell you that we really, human beings really screw this place up, and we really dirty it all and everything. But to try to tell you that I mean, it's ignorant to not be able to go back in science and say that there's cyclical things, and there are big die-offs, and then there's replenishment, and then there's new ones. And if you follow Cry on it all and go into the history of what things happen, and he says, hey, this is just a natural thing, and it happens on a regular basis, and you get a replenishment of the oceans and whatever comes out of the stuff. But they're trying to convince you that it's your fault, and let me again say that we need to clean the place up. We really are horrible the way we treat this place, but the notion that we're going to kill everything on this planet next week is kind of fallacious. And the biggest meme of all is coronavirus. I mean, golly. I mean, it's made people physically sick, afraid, stress, enormous stress, government change, government policy, financial markets, profiteering, totalitarian agendas. We can't leave our house. It changes what you think, what you wear, how you interact with each other, renders future completely uncertain, and people dream about it at night. I mean, that is a meme.